Good morning again. My name is Archibald Gordon. I am your guide this morning for the first edition of what we're calling the CMU Success Series. This is the exams edition. It's an initiative of the examinations department in the office of the university registrar. And I'd like to just welcome the members of the team from that office, beginning with the vice president in charge of administration, as well as university registrar, Dr. Tanisha Ingleton, Miss Keisha Walker, deputy registrar, Miss Jonique Dennis, examinations manager, our deans and members of faculty who are in the house as well. Mr. Mark Lee, he's a co-presenter today, he's a project manager here at the CMU. Other members of the academic staff and CMU staff on hand, Miss Delia Blake, Vice President of Academics at the Students' Union. Students, all of you who have shown up here this morning, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. So, as we said, the idea is to keep this short and sweet. So what are we going to be doing in this examinations webinar? First, we're going to be getting a couple of greetings from the Vice President of Administration as well as University Registrar. Then we'll get some greetings from Miss Delia Blake from the Students' Union. We're going to be sharing with you some important dates regarding examinations. Ms. Jonique Dennis, the examinations manager, will do that. And then we'll go straight into sharing information about exams, all that you need to know, beginning with the Deputy Registrar, Ms. Keisha Walker, and then how you can prepare for and sit unlike examinations by Mr. Mark Lee, who is a project manager. And then we're going to be opening the floor for questions. So the idea is to keep it short and sweet. There are also members of the CMU staff. There are academic staff and general staff who are in the chat. So if you have questions, you can share them there as well, and they will answer, and we will answer as we go along. So we'll begin with greetings from Dr. Ingleton. Doc?
Thank you so much, Mr. Archibald Gordon. Good morning, all, and welcome to the CMU Success Series. Let me start by acknowledging the team. I think here at CMU, I have been so blessed to be with great people, brilliant people, dedicated people, and I think that has been the very best part of my journey. I started, for those of you who do not know, on September 6th, and I have people in my corner like our host today, Mr. Archibald Gordon, our Director of Communications. So I want to greet Ms. Keisha Walker, my Deputy Registrar, and my right hand, Ms. Jonique Dennis, my Examinations Manager, and my left hand, right? And so I have these two brilliant, committed young ladies who help me every single day to manage this office. I also want to take this opportunity to greet Captain Devon Newman, Dean Faculty of Marine and Nautical Studies. I'm not sure he's in this space. Also Dean McCarthy, Faculty of Engineering and Applied Technology. We have Dean Matthews, Faculty of Shipping and Logistics, and Mr. Mark Lee, Project Manager. Other members of the academic staff, greetings to you, and of course my esteemed vice presidents. If there's any VP in the room, let me take this opportunity to acknowledge them. We have Professor Noel Brown, who is our VP of Academics and Accreditation. We have our Deputy President, Prof. Ibrahim. We also have Dr. McLean, our VP of Planning and Development, Dr. Lecky Johnson, our VP of Digital Transformation, and of course our VP of Treasury, Pat Harrison. Our president is not in this space, but of course he sends his very best wishes to every single one of you. No exams. Why is it that you need a success series for exams? You need it because just like anything else in life, exams is something that you just must plan for. Okay, you get the very best out of an exam when you prepare. And I'm asking you, I'm imploring you that no matter what it is that you have to do, no matter how hectic your life may get, please prepare for your exams. There's nothing more fulfilling. There's nothing more rewarding than knowing at the end of the day, when you get this degree, you earned it. Nobody wrote your exam for you. Nobody whispered anything in your ear while you were writing your exam. You didn't have to cheat and Google and look for anything to put on that that paper, because I know you're going to be doing it online. So to type on that computer screen, you earned it. there is nothing more fulfilling. You also have more power, more confidence when you enter into the job world, when you're sitting in that boardroom with other individuals around you who are also learned that you earned this. You also want to sound like you have a degree. You know, I'm sure there are so many people walking up and down with all kinds of qualifications. And when they open their mouth, you're wondering like, huh? Seriously? Really? Which university did you attend again? You don't want that. And that is what will happen to you if you get a degree that you did not earn. And so I'm asking you, no matter how hectic it gets, prepare for your exams, give yourselves the opportunity to do well, feel that wonderful feeling when you click that screen and see those grades, knowing that A is for you. And if it's a C, you earned it as well. So it really doesn't matter because you did everything that you had to do. We are behind you, cheering you on to the finish line. That's our role here. That's our purpose. We want you to succeed. When you succeed, we succeed. The better you look, the better the CMU will look, okay? And if you adhere to the rules and regulations of the exam, the better we will look as well, because rigor counts in academic institutions. And so you owe it to yourselves to work hard and to give your very, very best. And you have today with you a team of brilliant minds, committed people who are going to help you to get through the very difficult weeks ahead. So thank you so much and all the very best. I have had so many exams in my life and I'm still here growing and learning. It will not kill you. All right? Bless you and have a great rest of the session. Over to you, Archie.
Thank you, Doc. I would also like to welcome our VP of Academics at the CMU Students Union, Delia Blake. Delia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Archie. Sorry for my video being dark. So hello, everyone. I'm Delia Blake, your CMU Students Union VP of Academics for this academic period. So let me first start by wishing a warm welcome to our VP of Administration and University Registrar, Dr. T. Ingleton, our VP of Academics, Professor Noel Brown, other VPs or Deans of Faculty, Mr. Mark Lee, our Project Coordinator, our CMU Students Union President, Stephanie Green, and all other members of staff. And last, but by no means least, welcome to you, our CMU Spartans. I want to say that it has been a long journey for me. Thankfully, I'm on my final year, and most of you would have been on your first year. While the road is long, it will be rocky, but with good friends and good relationship with your lecturers, you too can make it to the finish line. Take your exams serious. I know that we're online, so it might seem easy to take the short route. I'm imploring you to be honest with yourself, allow yourself to grow, because if you do study and put in the effort for these exams, you really won't need the internet. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to say, I did this with confidence. So welcome to another episode of the CMU Success Series, and I wish you a very good day. Thank you. Over to you, Archie.
Thank you, Delia. And now straight into the meat of the matter. So important dates concerning examinations. Let's start with our exams manager, Janique Dennis. Janique?
Thank you, Archie. All protocols observed. All right, so important dates that we want your students to remember. So first, examinations begin on January 8th, 2022, and it ends on January 21st for our final examinations rather for our second year to fourth year students. Now for our first year students, your examination begins on January 24th and will end on February 3rd, 2022. All your timetables have been published on the university website. Now, for our students who or returning students or second year to fourth year students, if you observe that you have any examination clashes, you must download and complete the examination clash form, which is available on the university's SRS website. Now, the deadline for you to complete and submit the clash forms are December 24th. Also, deadline for exception registration for refits and supplemental examination is December 24th. You will have until 11:59 p.m. to submit your applications. Also, suspension of documentation request services. These are for your transcript certificate letters. We will suspend services on the 17th of December, and we will resume on January 3rd. However, if it is that you submitted a request prior to this date, you will be able to receive your documents. Thank you. Back to you, Archie.
Thank you, Janique. So again, you can set up all of that before you set up your Christmas tree and put out the gifts. It will be up until the 24th of December at 11:59. So all of those applications, and again, it's the CMU SRS website, which is the first one you see when you Google for CMU on the internet. Let's start by talking a little bit. Let's continue by talking about exception registration requests, supplemental receipts, and modular. And I'd like to invite the Deputy Registrar, Ms. Keisha Walker, to begin her presentation here.
Good morning, all. Are you hearing me?
We are.
Thank you. All protocols observed. Good morning, my CMU family, staff, and students. Allow me to share my screen. Okay, so this morning we will be talking about the exception registration process. As indicated before, my name is Keisha Walker, and I am the Deputy Registrar in the Office of Administration and University Registrar. So what is exception registration? Students may apply for exception registration through the student registration system, and these are examinations or subjects outside of the regularly scheduled subjects that are automatically added to your profile of subjects each semester. So requests to join or repeat courses, which are modular or repeat, as well as to clear examinations missed or failed, supplementals or receipts, may be accessed through the exception registration. Now, so in short, all examinations outside of your regular examinations can be accessed through exception registration. In order to access this, you need to log into your student portal. You will see the button to the left of your screen. Now, when can you apply for exception registration? For those students who have been assigned modular courses by their faculty, or who may have failed an exam or a course altogether, so they would have received a grade between 0 and 39, so they're repeating the course from scratch, you are required to apply for those subjects at the beginning of the semester. That is critical because you are going to be doing the course from scratch, so you're going to be doing coursework. You cannot apply for these courses nearing the end of exams. You have to do so at the beginning of the semester. Now, those students who missed an exam because of an extenuating circumstance and who have been granted supplemental exams, as well as those persons who failed exams and received scores between 40 and 49, so they're resitting the exam, those students may apply for courses at the beginning or even closer to the examination date. Unlike regular exams, so unlike your regular scheduled courses that would normally appear on your exam card or would be reflected on your profile once you log into the SRS system, unless you apply for an exception registration, you will not see these courses. all right? And only students who have pre-registered will be able to apply for exception registration. So what are the different types of exception registration? You have modular. So modular subjects are subjects that are given by your faculties. These are given on a case-by-case basis, and it depends on different factors. So an example is a person who transferred from maybe full-time to part-time, or a student who may have transferred from customs to logistics. Depending on the circumstance, the faculty may give you subjects as modular. Repeat, as I indicated before, are subjects that were failed outright. So the student would have received a grade, an overall grade, between 0 and 39%. Resits are for those persons who would have received a grade between 40 and 49%. Now, a student who failed an exam or failed a course and receive a grade between 40 and 49 may also choose to repeat the subject from scratch. That is your choice. Please note that the cost for a resit is different from that of a repeat. Resit costs are $10,000, whereas if you choose to repeat a subject, you're going to be paying for it per credit. Now, supplemental exams are for persons who would have missed a final exam due to extenuating circumstances. Extenuating circumstances include death in the family, you may have gotten ill, those situations that are outside of your control. Please note that payment of tuition is not considered an extenuating circumstance. If you know that you're having financial difficulty for a particular semester, it is up to you to come in and speak to Treasury to work out some kind of payment plan. Financial situations are not counted as extenuating circumstances. Now, there is a time limit on supplementals. If it is that you were ill or went away on national business and so on, and you missed your final exam, this information would have to be provided to the Office of the Registrar. Now, a supplemental will be awarded, and you have a time limit in which to clear your supplemental. Supplementals must be cleared at the next available sitting. So it means that whenever that subject is offered again, it is your responsibility to ensure that you apply for the subject, because if you do not, you will receive an automatic 0. Now, there is a 5-step process to the exception registration. Now, what you're seeing on screen is what you would see when you go into the portal. Students are able to track their exception registration request. So when you log in and you select the course that you wish to do as an exception registration, it will come up as draft. It is your responsibility as a student to ensure that it is submitted. If it is not submitted, there is nothing that internal personnel can do with that request. So please ensure that once you have applied for the subject, that you click submit. Once it is submitted by the students, then it is validated by registry personnel in conjunction with faculty, right? And we can either approve or reject. In some circumstances, rejection is given because you may have applied for the wrong thing. Now, if it is that you fail a course outright and you're supposed to do a repeat, you cannot apply for a resit. So if it is that you apply for a resit and you are supposed to repeat the course, it is going to be rejected. All right. The next stage of after validation is that the fees will be added by Treasury. So once it's validated, Treasury will automatically assign the fee. So whether it's a resit or a supplemental, usually for modular cases, those are captured in your school fee. So if it is not captured in your tuition, then you know you will have to pay separately. But normally, for modular cases, it's normally captured in the school fee. But as I said, if it is not, you will be charged by the Treasury. Once the fees are added, students are required to log in again to confirm what has been placed there. So if it is that you have a situation where you don't agree with what is there, you can always speak to the Treasury, but the students need to go back in and confirm. If it is not confirmed, it means that the process will stall right there. So you need to be tracking your requests. Once it is confirmed and you have made payment, then the request is added to the CRU. What does that mean? It means that you will be able to see the course along with all the other courses that you're doing that semester. If it doesn't get added to the CRU, it means that your faculty, your lecturers, nothing is going to be visible for the grades to be added to your profile. So you would be doing a course, you'd be repeating a course, you will be doing a resit, you'll be doing a supplemental, and you will be doing it in vain. Because if it is not added to CRU, it is not, there's nothing that is going to be in the system for us to add your grades. All right. Now, I'm at the end of my presentation, but I want to add, for added measure, when students are applying for exception registration, because currently the registry team is processing requests, I am going to ask students, if it is that you're applying for supplemental and modular requests, you are required to provide documentary proof to support why it is that this must be applied to your profile. I am currently looking at supplemental requests and students are not adding information. If it is that you missed the exam for whatever reason and you are submitting a letter to indicate why it was that you missed the exam, I'm asking that you indicate in said letter, the letter must be written to the university registrar, and you should indicate in the letter, give us a number where you can be contacted. Please note that when we are processing requests, we are not responsible for calling students, because everything that we need in order to make a decision on a request should have been submitted by the student. Where you have not provided enough burden of proof, your request can be rejected by the university. So as much as possible, I'm asking students, ensure that you provide us with the information that we require. If it is that you have written a letter, please put a contact number where you can be reached, and please provide us with all the necessary information that we can run down the details as much as possible in order to grant approval. There are also persons who would have failed a subject from 2 or 3 years before and are now applying for a supplemental. Please note that you are not entitled to a supplemental after that time. Students who are doing supplementals, who are doing resits, remember that progression is important. You need to clear first year subjects to go into second year, and you cannot go into third year trailing first year subjects. You cannot go into fourth year trailing second year subjects. So I'm asking students to pay attention to your profile. Do not get to fourth year with subjects pending. All right. If you are applying for a supplemental, please clear the supplemental at the next available sitting so that you don't get a failing grade. Thank you, everyone. If there are any questions.
I'm seeing one here. I'm seeing Conway Stewart. Conway, can you open your microphone and go ahead, please?
Are you hearing me?
Where? Go for it.
Yes, sir. So I was late for the webinar. So I'm asking where the recording would be posted so I'll be able to rewatch it.
Oh, sure. We are recording it right now, and by today or tomorrow, we will have it on our YouTube channel.
YouTube channel. Okay,
Yes,
thank
it'll
you,
be on
sir.
the YouTube channel. No problem. We'll also
Alright.
send out a link to students' emails. If you haven't signed up for the CMU email, please ensure that you're signed up for the CMU email. It's the chief
Right.
way which the university communicates with you, not just
I
the
have,
CMU.
sir. I have.
Oh, not
Thanks.
necessarily with you, Conway, but
Okay.
everyone. Please ensure that you sign up to the CMU email and that you're using the notifications on our social media channels. Those are other places we share information with you as well. Miss Misha Sutherland Brown from the uh, Office of the Treasury is in the chat. If you have questions, other members of the CMU team are in the chat and they can communicate with you there, or shortly after we have our next presentation, we're also going to be opening the floor for questions. So let's move quickly into our next presentation. For this one, I want to welcome Mr. Mark Lee, and he'll be talking about preparing for and sitting online examinations. Mark, over to you.
Thank you very much, Archie. Good morning, everyone. Good day to the executive management team with all protocols being observed. Good day to my co-workers and good day to my most precious stakeholders, our student body. I am Mark Lee. I am the project manager for the university's LMS, and I'll be presenting today on navigating online examinations. Now, I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to begin the presentation as we know that we're a bit pressed for time. Is my screen visible?
It is.
Okay. And I want you all to pay special attention to what we're going to be doing today. And
Get your first boo boo? No.
And so I've hidden my video. What we're going to be talking about is the process, the steps by which you're going to ensure that you have a successful examination period. And this is about the third year that we have been going through this examination period. We have made a lot of adjustments to make the process even smoother for the students. So to begin, the first thing that we want to do is to log into the students' LMS, which is our e-learning platform, as you can see here on the screen. And as was alluded to by, or was explicitly stated by Ms. Walker, if you have not taken care of your registration on the SRS platform, you're going to have trouble, you're going to have issues seeing your exam. So the first thing that we want to ensure is that we have access. My apologies. And so access, okay. Let me just adjust some things right here as well. I believe I want to make an adjustment to my slides. And let's go again. Now, the screen that you're seeing, oh, let me switch this around. My apologies, un momento.
All right, well, Mark sorts that out. Just remind you that this is actually the first edition. What we plan to do in the new year is to share some more things that will help to make your journey easier at the CMU. So in January, we intend to have a seminar that is looking at financial matters. So how can you save money? How can you balance your resources better? And what are some of the opportunities in terms of scholarships, etc. And then we also want to do a seminar that's focused on alumni. So you have some people some students, some graduates rather of the CMU who've been really, really, really successful. Some of them, some you might have seen on some of our social media platforms. So what made them a success? What did they do? How did they navigate the journey to the CMU to doing really well at different levels of the society? So we're going to be talking to some of those persons as well. So we hope you will join us for those sessions when those sessions come up as well. Mark?
Yes, Archie, thank you much for that. All right, we're just returning to the screen. All right, so as I was saying, our greatest concern is access, and that determines, whether or not you can be successful in your semester. The issue that some students face, as Ms. Walker was saying, is that we don't fully register, we haven't completed the process to the point where you're seeing your name saying added to the CRU. And this is for the exceptional registration courses. For the courses that you have already been partaking in for the duration of the semester, those exams will be reflected on your course page, and they'll be reflecting at the top of the course page. So once you've gone through the process where you've gained access to the site, then what we're going to look at is where can you find your exam, right? Now, once you've logged in, as you can see here, the dashboard would show a list of all the courses. And if you can pay attention to the right-hand side of the screen, you will see what I've highlighted as a timeline. This timeline will capture all your assignments, including your final exams. So it's basically a shortcut to get to the specific exam. It also notifies you what is coming up. We have a couple blocks, 3 of them, as a matter of fact, that will assist you in seeing, when your exam is. So I don't think the excuse that, I didn't know when was my exam is going to be a valid one, because it's all over the site. If we look to the next slide, you will see we also have a calendar, and the calendar has days that are highlighted. These days will also match with what you're seeing in your timeline here. So ensure that you're seeing your exams before the day of the exam. Ensure that on the day of the exam, you're seeing the exam as well. Now, if you don't want to use this method, you can actually click on your course, and as we're saying, the exam will be located at the top of the course. Now that you have gained access, you know where to find the exams, the meat of the matter. Sit in the exam. And in sitting an exam, there are a couple of things that you need to do before the exam, during the exam, and after the exam. And I'm actually going to break the presentation for a minute to carry you to the site to demonstrate what you're expected to do and what you should be seeing when you're doing your exam. Now, the first thing is you would want to, my apologies for that, you'd want to ensure that you check for outages. And this is something that can easily be done via the JPS website, via the Flow or your Digicel website. We also do the same. We check to ensure that there are outages in whatever outages that are recorded or reported are confirmed, and then we'll make necessary adjustments as well. So we will be there with you during the duration of your exam, right? And if you can look here, I have a quiz you can see on the screen. This quiz will have a basic instructions, timeline, guides, and all that sort of stuff. Once you've clicked on your exam, which is on the course page, you should be seeing a greeting page such as this one on your screen. Are you able to see the quiz that says basic quiz? You could respond via the chat, or if one of my coworkers could be so kind to turn on the mic so that I can know that you're seeing.
We are.
Yes, we're seeing it. We're seeing.
Thank you so much. I know once you attempt the quiz, or you're going to start, you're going to get the instructions with your timer, which is going to be located on the exam page. as you can see, what has happened is that a pop-up came up which pulled you away from your regular tab where you could go and hit a next tab to search something in Google or to look up something like that. You're in a different space where you're unable to search for anything. What I want to bring to your attention, right, during the exams, two things, and they're very crucial. Please read your instructions carefully. Read your instructions carefully. There's a story that there was a teacher who built a multiple choice exam. I won't call his or her name. And the multiple choice exam had the reverse instructions for the students. So instead of saying, select the correct answer, they were asked to pick the most incorrect answer or the most inappropriate answer to the question. And persons went through that paper in minutes, submitted the responses, and the teacher was laughing all the way and marking the paper. It's the easiest paper he had to mark. The reason why I say that is because we're online now, the nature of the questions are such that they're not so straightforward. They are built with a lot of, tricks and traps to try and draw the student, or lead the student down the wrong road. Read the instructions carefully. The next crucial area when sitting an online exam is your time management. Yes, you will have a time ticking. However, a person, sometimes you're a bit nervous and you're second guessing your answers. There's nothing wrong with that. If you intend to second guess your answers, my suggestion is you do it at the end. Get through the paper first and ensure that you have a game plan for your exam. As you can see here on the screen, I have a demonstration of an exam, and it's a short exam just to show you what will be happening. You have your questions and you have a navigation bar on the right side of the screen, which allows you to look at your questions and to have an idea of how many questions you're going to face. So if I know it's 4 multiple choice questions, I know I need to hurry up and get through them because I have section B to worry about, and it's 2 essay questions. I can also go and preview them. Now, when you're answering your questions, the multiple choice, the true and false, the image questions are straightforward. If it is that you're required to type, you'll be given a text box. And this text box has added features that can be enabled by clicking on this arrow to the left of the text box. So this is our text box here underneath the question.
We're not seeing it. We're not seeing what you're seeing.
Okay.
We're
You're
still
not seeing the pop-up.
attempt.
Understood. Understood. So let me get into let me resolve that real quick for you. What I want to demonstrate is that the questions that you will be facing will be displayed one by one, and they will be shuffled. So, sometimes we have a little WhatsApp group, and we link up in the WhatsApp group, and we're saying, okay, we are going to, pass around the answers. What's the question? What's the answer for number 1? Unfortunately, that will not work. Your number 1 will be completely different from somebody else's number 1 right along the line. The same for the essay questions as well. The lecturers have been, go ahead.
And the same for the options as well. The options are shuffled.
Thank you so much, Archie. And that is very important to know. The options are also shuffled as well. So what that means is you're going to be wasting your time trying to track down somebody's response or the correct response for a question. Let me get into the student mode so I can demonstrate the paper here again. Are we seeing the questions now?
Yes, we're seeing.
So as I was saying here, this number 1 that you are seeing here is going to be somebody else's number 4 or somebody else's number 3. And unlike this small quiz that I've used to demonstrate, these 4 questions will be coming from a database of over 5,000 questions in some cases. In other cases, maybe more. So you might not have the same question appear on the paper any at all. Point I'm making is don't waste your time trying to cheat. It's better if you put the effort into applying yourself on your paper. Back to your time management again. That's a crucial part. Don't get distracted or get any conceptions that you can go ahead and it's not going to work out for you. The navigation bar will show you the sections for your exam, the questions for them so you know how much time you need to allot for it. And as I was saying in regards to answering text questions, as you can see on your screen, you're able to type and you're able to do a lot of other things as well. If you use this drop-down button, the very first button on the text editor, we get a list of other functions, and that includes building a table, right? For the persons doing maybe quantitative management or accounting, you need to draw something. If you're doing your math and you want to write your symbols, we have an equation editor with advanced symbols as well. If you're doing the small stuff like you want to write, so for argument's sake, you want to say x squared, then you have the subscript and you have superscript that you can use. So there's stuff there to facilitate you carrying out your paper as best as possible. Now, we covered what we're doing at the beginning. We covered what we're doing during the exam. And now, once it is that you're finished, you know, you need to put the cherry on the cake, wrap it up nice and neatly, and submit. Ensure that you review your paper before submitting. We have a timer here that will elapse shortly. And what this timer will do is that it will allow maybe a minute or two after the exam for submissions to come in. And what it means is that the system will automatically start to save your answers. It does it periodically, I should say. But when it reaches the end of the exam, even if you have not submitted your paper, it will submit that paper for you using the last saved instance of your exam paper. So I suggest when you see the time hit right here, you run and you submit your questions, you finish your attempt, and you can review. Now, some questions allow for, as you can see, the screen is now closed. I'm unable to go any further and edit anything, but it has saved my response. And so this response will go up for grading. Because I was not able to click finish review in time, I was not able to go through my submission. Now, as I said, you don't need to panic here because the answers have been captured. If you had finished on time, right? So reattempt the quiz, and you had finished on time, you would have seen your responses for each one of your questions. You'd be able to look at each one of them. And at this point in time, you're going to say to yourself, all right, you know, answer 2 look wrong. Or maybe 4 want to commit more bluff on it, or that essay look maga, you know, it wants some more meat in the body, that kind of stuff. But get out your paper first, right? Bearing in mind that stuff might happen outside of your control, where light might go away, internet might go away. So you want to be doing as much as possible. If you see something you want to fix, you return to attempt, you go ahead, you sort it out, and then you finish your attempt. Once you have done this, you submit all and finish. You're going to be prompted that you're sure you want to submit all. Once this is done, an email will be automatically sent as a receipt to the student's email address. That is your student email address. That's your verification that you did the exam and you have the proof of it. Cool? All right, now what you're seeing here will not happen. You will not be able to review the exam or see your options or your questions until the teacher and everybody is finished with it. So you will actually be returned to your course page. Fair enough? Now I can return to the presentation. Now we can talk about some exam issues. As a matter of fact, the first one is, where should I sit my exam? Now, because of COVID, we know that we have certain constraints. Sometimes I have to work from home, and when I work from home, I have the 2 kids around me and they're making a lot of noise and then take over the meeting. However, when I know that I'm presenting to the students today, I find myself somewhere very quiet, where only God knows that I am there. I have nobody disturbing me, and I sit down quietly to do my presentation or my exam. The same is what I would suggest for you. Now, it is a little bit more difficult for some persons than others, so I can give you some suggestions. One, if you're near a library, the quietest place next to a church, the library sure to have internet. You know, church will be better because you have God on your side, but I think it's easier to get God in the library than internet in the church. No. All right. Once you can find a backup location, if it's not the library, it may be a internet cafe, wherever it may be your old school, doesn't matter. Have a backup location, should in case an outage arise the day before or something like that, you know. The bread truck drive around and lick down the light post, you're not getting it. You know you're not going to get back light until it resolves, so you might as well just start to enact on your backup plan. All right, now what if an outage or an issue should occur? God forbid, the bread truck do lick down the light, the bread truck lick down the street light during the exam. There is a issue log that you can use. This issue log is located, as you can see on your screen here, on your student, on the school's website. You don't even have to log into the platform. You need only go to student information, where you have the timetable, which is where you will find the listing of all the exams if you don't want to use a site. And when you scroll a little bit further down, you will see here, instead of saying semester 3, you will say semester 1. And this will not be open until January 8th when exams start, right? How the issue log work is that you're required to populate it with certain information, including the name, ID number, the issue that you face, the course that you are doing, all of that stuff. It is in your best interest to use pictures, quality pictures with timestamps. So for argument's sake, I can give you a scenario, a couple scenarios. You hit the Wi-Fi button on the router and get kicked out of the exam and you're balling that, you know, your internet go away. Now, when we check the outage logs with JPS and with Flow and with Digicel, we realize there's no outage in the area. That's negligence on your part or on mommy's part or daddy's part because I never paid the bill. And that's what we're going to assume. We're not going to assume that there's an outage there. We're going to do our checks, right? And that's the kind of thing that we have been focusing on, not to. So we have added security features on the platform. These security features are not preventative in nature, meaning they are not there to stop the cheating. It is there to capture it, you know? Because if we prevent you from doing it, you're going to try again. However, if we allow you to try and we catch you there and you're punished there, chances are you won't do it again. So some of the security features that we have enabled on the platform, stuff like the plagiarism checker, right? A plagiarism checker will ensure that you're not cut and pasting from the nearest Google response. You understand what I mean? And these are just some of the measures. There are others that I can't allude to yet, right? But the point is, we want you to have a clean and successful examination. And for that to happen, you can just put all of that effort that you want into doing your exam. Bearing in mind that the team is on standby watching the logs to advise you as soon as possible as to the best course of action to remedy whatever issue you may have. And that will be the end of my presentation. If there are any questions, we can take them now, you know what I mean? And then I wish you all the best in your exams.
Thank you, Mark. If you have any questions right now, please raise them. You can use the raise hand feature. You can open your microphone and just go ahead. You can put them in the chat so you can share and respond to those information as well, that information as well, or your question as well. We have students who are asking, someone was asking about not related to this matter, but was asking about health cards, whether you can access your health cards. One, if you have already paid your auxiliary fees and on a payment plan, you should be able to access your health cards. Health cards they are ready in batches, and students who are registered up to November 11, your batch is probably ready. It's probably at Student Affairs, and you can email the Student Affairs team. It's Student Affairs with an S, STUDENTAFFAIRS at cmu.edu.jm. I'm not sure whether anyone else has any questions or anything that they would like to add overall.
So I'm seeing something in the chat.
So, sorry, there's someone here?
Yes, Shelley-Ann. Mr. Lee not too long ago said if he's to consult JPS for a scheduled outage and there wasn't none, then they'll assume that there wasn't an outage in the area, but should in case there be an accident, which wouldn't be scheduled for, what would happen in that case?
Thank you very much for that question. So as I said, should an outage occur, right? They normally have scheduled one that you would be aware of. But if it is an impromptu outage, somebody's going to call it in. Within 5, 10, 15 minutes, it is going to be up on the JPS website. It is there. So there's a tab. I don't know if you want me to share it with you. I could do that right now. Let me just stop this one and start the next one. You're going to just turn your attention to the screen. There's a JPS outage tab, right? And basically it's a map. You will have the planned outages that they will make you aware of, as you can see here. But they also have the impromptu ones as well. There's also a JPS app, which is updated just as well as the website. So you can see the planned outages, and if you are using the app, as I say, you will actually get a notification. You can receive a notification if you input your location in it, to alert you that, look here, there is an outage in the area or going to be an outage in the area, stuff like that. And it's not that you are going to say that there is an outage and we're just going to outright say that there isn't. We're going to verify the validity of that claim. And once we have done the necessary checks, we will advise you whether it is that, you'll be allotted a new paper. Because remember, how this thing works is like, you don't want to be doing the exam 2 times. You don't want to be working through your exam and halfway through the exam, the light go away, God forbid. And then when you report it, you're not going to get back the same paper. You won't be expected to continue. We're going to be using that wealth of information or that wealth of questions that we have in our database to produce a brand new question. You have to sit down for a brand new exam. So we want to try and get that out of the way, which is why I advise you to check for the schedule, right? You don't want it pop up on you. If it pop up on you, there's nothing that you or I can do about it. So we're just going to have to use a new paper. We'll do the exam over at a specified date. If it is though that you've knowingly and falsely entered, an outage or some issue in a log and we've verified, then it's not an next exam, it's a disciplinary committee. And so that's why we want to ensure that, you check your things and make sure that everything is dotted when you send it in your log. Any other questions?
Just before you proceed, Mr. Lee, just to add, so our students know that, we, in situations, we will contact JPS directly to confirm outage. So even though we may see it on the website because we know persons, sometimes submit reports, we will contact JPS for information to confirm. So we expect that students, if it is that you have an outage and you were not able to communicate that, you will complete the issue log after. You will complete the issue log.
Sorry about that. Go for it.
Sure, thank you, Archie. So we expect that you will complete the exam issue log after. However, if it is that you know that you have internet or electricity outage, we want you to contact your provider. In the past, we have received document directly from JPS specifying a particular household, or we receive these documents from the student themselves. So you can direct JPS or Flow, whoever it is, directly and ask them to give you something in writing that could be your substantiated evidence.
Okay, thanks for that. And another question for Mr. Lee. Should in case the electricity or the internet go, say in probably about 2-3 minutes, and it comes back and are you able to go back in and retrieve your exam?
That's an excellent question. Yes, you are. So as I had alluded to earlier in the presentation, one, your submissions will be saved at regular intervals. Two, if the for argument's sake, you're booted out, internet went, light went, and you were able to join back within time. Yes, you would have been able to rejoin your exam. However, the time would have still been ticking against you, right? So what persons do is to make a notation that, look here, my internet went and my light went for 15 minutes, you know, then fill out the issue log. When you come back, then proceed to continue with the exam. Oftentimes, within the time it takes for you to send in the log and to continue with your exam, the team would have been alerted with the information coming in from your log, and then either my team or the exam department would be able to facilitate that extension. So say for argument's sake, 15 minutes has dissipated, right? Where the light went, you didn't have that time, you didn't have the internet, but it came back and you made a notation of it. We could provide an extension of the 15 minutes once we have verified that the claim is true. However, oftentimes how the exams are structured and created is that there is a time allotted for any mishap. So for argument's sake, your exam would have a 3-hour window, but the exam itself might last for 2.5 hours. And so that would allow you, you know, get in, get out, make a note, send your issue log up to the relevant channels or through the relevant channels so that we can make adjustments within the space or the duration of the exam. So in the short, yes, if you're kicked off, you can get back in once the exam is not finished. What you should do in that case is make use of the issue log, jump back in your exam as soon as possible, send your issue log in. What we will do is we'll verify, and if it is that's the case, you get your time back. Any more questions?
Yes, I think there was a question in the chat. Jada Watson says, I'm trying to log into the e-learning platform with the CMU email and password I was given. However, it is telling me that this email is not available on the site, but I am still able to use it when logging into SRS. How can I fix this issue?
All right, JW, what I would ask for you to, yes. Oh, Jada Watson, okay.
Jada Watson, yes.
Thank you. So good morning, Ms. Watson, a good day. You're able to log into SRS using your student email address, but you're not able to log in using the same email address onto the e-learning platform. I would advise you that the passwords are the same, right? So if it is that you have attempted using the same password, which I think you might have, and you're unable to get on, then you can simply use the OLERT help desk, OLERT support at cmu.edu.jm. As a matter of fact, my team is in here right now, so I'm pretty sure that they're looking at your account. I will be able to advise me before the meeting is over. But what you would normally do in a situation like this is that, and let me specify a situation again. Because the two platforms are linked, we are unable to add students to CRU, we are able to add students to an exam. That has to be done by the student, taking care of all their registration stuff on the SRS platform. Once you have done that perfectly, your exams will reflect. If it is that you're doing your normal exams that you have done for the semester, the courses that you have done throughout the semester, and you're seeing those courses, then you should see the exam. If you're doing the exception ones, you have to make sure that you're properly registered for it to reflect. If you access the SRS platform, you do all of that wonderful stuff to get started with, but you can't access the e-learning platform, the entire platform, then please contact the team again at OLERT support at cmu.edu.jm.
How do we find the issue? Sorry, how do we find the issue log? Says
as well. So the issue log is located on in the same space where your timetable is posted. And I can demonstrate again on the screen. If you're, so for argument's sake, you open a new tab, Mr. Gordon, you type in SRS, cmu.edu.jm, you go to student information, then student timetable, and you scroll. What you're looking for is examination issue log. It's right here. Now, if you click on this right now, nothing will pop up, but on the morning of exam, the page will be made available. So you can fill it. It's basically like a survey with some questions.
But just ensure those students that you click on the right examination issue log. What you will see is the semester 1, 2021, 2022 examination issue log.
Right. So we would remove this so that you have no issues to worry about. Now, just to repeat, thank you, Sir Hubbard, for putting it in the chat. So that's alertsupport@cmu.edu.jm. And that is for issues where you are unable to access the LMS, the e-learning platform, the site right here. You're unable to access this one, but you are able to access the SRS. So if you can log in as a student and you can see stuff on your portal, you can go to your portal home, but you cannot get on the e-learning platform, then you need to contact us ASAP so we can take a look at your account and see what the issue may be. If you have access to the e-learning platform, however, you're not seeing a course that you applied for a resit or a redo, or a supplemental, which is the category of the exception registration, then there is either an error or an omission, or it is incomplete, and that is the process of registering for said exam. Any other questions?
Hi, good afternoon. I have two questions. The first one would be, is it a case where it was, what's the reasoning behind scheduling some of the exam timetable for morning when you had persons doing part-time in the evening? So we were doing the course in the evening. Was it like an executive decision where it was said that this was the reason behind doing so?
All right, so that's a very good question. Now, what you would find is that some exams for the day are actually scheduled in the evening, and some exams for the evening are actually scheduled in the day, and that's for the evening group. The nature of it is such that certain courses won't allow for an exam to be stretched throughout the duration of the day, while others could. So it depends on the nature of the course that you're referring to. So for argument's sake, a large course with a large database like math is an open course, an open exam in terms of the time. So that persons could do the exam during the evening or during the day. But something more bespoke for argument's sake, like a custom processes exam for argument's sake, right, would have to be restricted to a more narrow time frame, and that's to minimize the, is to increase the security of the exam and to minimize the chances of collusion and so forth. So I do understand that it comes at a minor convenience, but what we would ask is that, individuals prepare ahead of time to get the necessary time from work, if they can, to facilitate the exams. If it is impossible, then, you need to reach out, you don't wait until the end of the day, or on the day to get assistance in that case. So you say I had two questions. I think that was the first one.
Yeah. All right. The second one is, how long do it take to get a response regarding the examination clash? And what is usually the process of doing so? So I did complete the form, but it's the first time I'm doing it. So I just want to know what is the process after submitting the form.
All right. So I would just turn that over to Miss Dennis. I don't know if she would like to, elaborate on that one for you, and then I can take up what happened.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Lee. So the question was the turnaround time to process the examination clash form. That was the question?
Yes. And the process of what will usually happen afterwards.
Sure. Okay. So the examination issue log forms are usually processed at the end of the examination, right? So at the end, depending, you will get a response, but there's a time that we have to process each form submitted. So over the time, we notice that
sorry to cut you, not the issue log, the clash examination clash form.
Oh, okay, right. So the turnaround time for the clutch form is typically 3 working days. We try to process them within 24 hours. All right.
No,
And you will receive, so you will receive a form, you will get back the form advising you of the new examination time for each examination, right? And if there are any specific instructions for you, you will receive that in a notation. So you will receive that form with the necessary write-ups via email.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Sorry, Tevin, that was you?
Yes, that was me.
Okay, all right, cool. Thank you.
If I may, Archie, interject
Sure.
as
Mr.
well.
Hubbard.
Evan Hubbard here. I would like to just add one thing to Ms. Dennis and Mr. Lee's presentations here about the examination issues log. It is something that we in the faculties have had to deal with in previous exams, and we have been asked to try to ensure that this does not happen. When, and I'm speaking to students now, when students have an issue with a final exam, do not try to contact your lecturer. Do not try to contact your faculty administrator. The examination issues log is your first stop. Ensure you document it, otherwise you are going to have a problem getting a supplemental for the issue you have approved. The examination center does not appreciate being asked to do things after an exam is completed because a student attempted to contact someone else other than them through the approved process. The examination center is the authority in all exams once the exam period has been launched, not your lecturer, not the faculty. If we are necessary to the process, the examination center personnel will get us involved. Okay, so for your examinations, if you have issues on the day with your exams, if you have clashes, as was just discussed earlier, please do not try to contact your faculty administrator or your lecturer on the issue. Please ensure that you do this via the proper channels. Okay, that was all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hubbard. Mr. Hubbard is Deputy Dean in the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Technology. All right, cool. So that brings us to the end of this first session. And again, use up the platforms, read your emails, and when you're trying to get in touch with the CMU, do so early. Don't wait until the last minute, because the same people that you're trying to get to are the people who are doing a lot of different things all at the same time. They're the ones who are trying to process all of this. So thank you again for joining us this morning for the first CMU Success Series. And I want to thank as well my colleagues from the registry, Ms. Keisha Walker, Deputy Registrar, Mr. Nick Dennis, Examinations Manager, as well as our co-presenter this morning, Ms. Walker's co-presenter this morning, Mr. Mark Lee, as well as some of the other colleagues that are in the group, Mr. Evan Hubbard, Mr. Marsha, Mrs. Misha Sutherland Brown, and other members of the academic and CMU staff, especially the technical staff who were on hand to help us and to answer your questions in the chat, as well as the folks at the Students' Union, in particular, Miss Delia Blake, Vice President of Academics, for collaborating with this on us this morning, with us on this morning, and ensuring that you all come out. So have a great morning, everybody, and take care.